Well, yeah, you're not going to just leave them with a shitty ass, are you?
Well, I don't know. I thought that's what you guys were doing.
No! Hello, everybody, and welcome to another new episode of the world's greatest ever parenting podcast. This is Overly Honest Dads. This is a podcast that aims to give you an honest look at what parenthood is really like. Sometimes, I'll be honest, we do get a little too honest, but that's how it goes. So my name's Matt, and I'm joined, inevitably, by my two podcast pals, Magnus.
Hi, guys.
And John.
Hello.
We doing well?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. How are you doing?
That's what I like to hear. I am also doing well. And thank you for joining us, listeners, on what is our 30th ever episode. Our podcast is 30. It's reached a
29.
milestone. No, this is definitely 30. I checked and double-checked.
Technically, I'm pretty sure it's 28, but... there we
it's
are.
30. Yeah. It's turned 30. It's the time where our podcast needs to book up its ideas. Our podcast does not own its own home yet. It is not married. It needs to really sort itself out. Stop calling its dealer on a weeknight. It needs to really book its ideas up, and we're here to do exactly that. So, listeners, I'll tell you what we have in store for you today. We're going to start with dad news, which is predictable but true, and then we are going to talk about toddlers. For the first time, I don't think we've done any segments focused on toddlers. Now, when we first recorded this podcast, it was April or May 2019. I had a 6-month-old daughter. Magnus had a 3-month-old daughter, and although John had been through the whole thing about toddlers and all that all those stages, all those developments, Magnus and I had no idea what it'd be like. But we sit here now as parents of toddlers. I think we've adjusted to, the differences between babies and toddlers, and now we're here to tell you about our experience. And so we're going to get into that later on. And just to say as well, I don't think this will be the only episode we do on toddlers. There's probably going to be other subjects we do in the future, things like potty training, that kind of thing. Once we cross those bridges, then we'll tell you about how it all went for us. But that's enough waffling from me. It's time for dad news, and John is up first.
Hello. So, dad news is breaking news. Between the last recording and now, I broke my little toe.
Yay!
Oh, man! Which has kind of made things interesting with kids, because they don't understand space when someone is in pain or has a broken something. So, in case you guys don't know, if you break a toe and you go to the hospital, they would only wrap it up because there's no way to kind of cast a little toe, is the idea. So effectively, you're not covered, you're not protected, and your kids are roaming around the house and stepping on your feet, and it's happened 3 times since the last time we saw each other, which was super painful, to say the least. And that was my breaking news. The other news is I'm still fat. Yeah, literally breaking. And the only other bit of news is that I'm still fat. I'm losing weight, but I'm still fat and very disappointed in myself. But I'm weighing myself every day, and I'm getting there. I'm not going to be a fat dad.
Yet.
Well, I'm already a fat dad, to be honest.
You used to be well fat when I first met you, like all of 14 years ago. John used to be a much larger man. And now he is a very physically fit individual. It's been quite a journey for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a journey, to say the least. I was 110 kilos, and the worrying thing about this time during lockdown is that I got to 94, and that's very high. And it's getting closer to that fat number I used to be. But you learn to lose weight and to get healthier because we have kids, and you kind of want to live a bit longer and see a little bit more of their life, if that makes sense.
Indeed. Well, speaking of fatness, Magnus.
Ouch!
Ow!
You're asking for the C word to be dropped early, man. Careful.
It was right there. What am I supposed to? What's a man supposed to do?
Jesus. Anyway, I'll choose to ignore that. My dad news.
Get into it. Go on.
I'm not going to talk to you guys about my roles. Not today. But my dad news is 2 things really. Quinn is a fucking maniac. Pretty much.
Bless her.
She's well into terrible twos. Yeah, me and Romana are... No, I know, but we are there.
She got graduated already.
Jesus Christ, yeah, she graduated early. Man, she's really demanding. She's like throwing tantrums and refusing to nap and having meltdowns and it's that whole thing of not understanding or having no understanding of its boundaries, but also wanting to explore. Yeah. Which is completely normal. It's absolutely fine. But it's like a little bit more than other kids. And Romana's aware of that because she used to work in a preschool setting with kids of Quinn's age. And she was reminiscing, which is most likely the wrong word, of her previous life as a preschool teacher, and how there were kids that were maniacs, and she always wished she would never have a maniac kid. And Quinn currently falls into that fucking category. So when she's about, we get nothing done. But then on the flip, she's a bloody darling sometimes.
Because she's your child, that's why.
Yeah, I know. And she charms other people. Her babysitter, she does none of this with. None of this. So yeah, I don't know. We're just, we're just riding the waves right now. But she fell over the other day. I think it was 2 days ago. She fell over and cracked her head on the door.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
You sent us the pictures.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's gnarly, and the blood was coming through the plaster. And we've changed it twice, and it's still a bit. It's like it's swollen. Yeah, it's swollen. It's not a very deep wound, but it's on the head, and as we know, the head always bleeds like a maniac. So she doesn't care. She's not fussing over the plaster. She's not even pulling it off. She's letting us change it. And that's apparently good. She didn't even really cry, which was,
little Rambo, like
for real. So yeah, it's one of those things. I just hope that it doesn't scar too much. If it does, it's a battle wound,
No, it's little things you carry with you in life, and they're not a stretch when you grow up and stuff. Even if it was going to be a scar, so don't worry about it.
Exactly. But she's now got bruises over her. She's got like on her knees. On a part of her face as well, where she fell over again. She's starting to get really fast, like she runs about.
And, of course. Yeah,
it's that age now. She needs to know what is going on. But yeah, that is my dad news. And on that note, over to you, Matt.
Hey, you remembered.
It'd have been very slick if you hadn't then gone, you remembered.
That was exactly the point.
It would have been seamless. Okay, so my dad news is mostly around sort of, what my working situation's been like the last couple of weeks. So when lockdown first happened, it was a bit of a relief for me in a way, in that I'd been working really long hours and I hadn't really seen much of Amelie since around Christmas. I'd just seen her at weekends, never really during the week. And so lockdown was kind of like a bit of a breath of fresh air in a parenting sense, because I got a lot of extra time with her and it was nice. And then we've gone into lockdown 2, and the situation for at least my work anyway is that we are busier than we've ever been. And now I should really say as well that at this point I don't mean to be to sound insensitive to people who have the opposite problem. I'm working a lot at the moment, but there's going to be lots of folks out there who aren't working, and their lives are obviously going to be in a tougher place than I am. So I just want to recognise that quickly before I sort of talk about the rest of what I got to say. But so I'm lucky in that I work for an industry, same one that John works in, that isn't so affected by the pandemic. And so we've stayed employed. But the last 2 weeks, and even before that really, I'm doing 12, 13-hour days every day. And it's so hard. It's what I'm saying. Sort of like being in the same house as your child, but sort of being chained to your desk. It's a really strange lockdown situation that I'm sure other parents are having at the moment as well. And you're in this situation where you're under a lot of pressure. You need to get results for your job, whilst also, because you're in lockdown, being a bit helping out with Amelie. It's not like I can completely abdicate my responsibilities, even though there's certain pressures on me to perform certain ways in my role. And it's just one of these things where I think as fathers, or whoever, whichever parent is the main breadwinner in your family, you can have a lot of pressure on you. And with lockdown, you don't have the same release valves that you might do normally. Like, how a commute can be a release valve to stress, or drinks with your colleagues can be a release valve for that, or there's plentiful ways that you can try and relieve stress and make yourself happier overall. But when you're in lockdown and you're working very long hours, not really getting quality time with your wife or your children, it can just lead to this really strange situation. I'm been like a walking zombie all week. Like not really doing anything. I finish work in the room that I'm recording in right now. I go downstairs, have food, then come up and chill out in here as well. I've been spending like 18 hours a day in this tiny little room. It's no way to live your life. And that
sounds really, really tough, man. So you basically live in that room. You do everything in that room.
Yes.
Yeah.
You masturbate in that room.
Oh, don't. Oh, man. I'm just staring at him. Just, you know what?
I'm
the
sure
way he looks at that camera
truth.
on occasions, I imagine. Oh, it's awful. Anyway, sorry. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, all right. No,
Lovely,
I did not like that.
Yeah, the listeners can't see you. Sadly, we can.
They can't see my O face.
Oh, boy. Anyway, I was going to say, Matt, on this topic in general, I think it's good that we're talking about it because I think it just doesn't get recognized enough. Like people, like no offense, but I was thinking about this. But you're the dad, and it's just like, yeah, and you're not busy because the kids, someone else is looking after the kids. That's what my situation is. But the reality is, we're so much under pressure anyway. Because no offense, it puts us all in paranoia. Or am I going to keep my job? I'm going to do the best I can. So you're super focused. You're working long hours. I think there's just a sense of fear in the workplace for people and breadwinners. You're constantly thinking of the worst case scenario. So
yeah. And
it's a big subject at the moment, man.
Yeah, I think that men aren't really good at talking about the things that are affecting them, and so there's lots of folks out there, lots of men in particular, who work very, very, very hard, who feel guilty about their inability to be as present as they want to with their kids or their other halves, or even extended family or friends. Like you want to be around them, but they probably don't understand the extent of the pressure you're under because you're probably not very good at expressing it. Deep down, and so people just bury their problems upon layer and layer of denial, and then try and live a happy life, and then get confused as to why they fail to do so. I think there's a lot in there in terms of male mental health as it relates to work and family pressure, but it just gets swept under the rug or covered in drink, which is one way that people deal with it. As I say, just having poured out more beer, and yeah, so I just wanted to mention that because I'm sure I'm not the only one.
No, definitely not.
That's in this situation, and this situation that lockdown has just made worse, frankly. I'm trying to think if there's any positive things I can mention because that was a bit of a downer, wasn't it? I mean, look, overall, I'm happy. I'm not sort of crying.
You're not going to go and hang yourself.
No, quite the opposite. What's the opposite of hanging yourself?
Still hanging yourself by while you're masturbating, I guess. Sorry, that's just awful.
There's a word for that, isn't there?
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yes.
Trust Mag to fucking know. Pervy McMagnus.
So that is dad news for this week. So we are going to take our customary brief break, and when we return, we're going to talk about toddlers. So we'll see you in a moment for that.
Little cunts.
Welcome back to Overly Honest Dads. And before we go on with the show, just a quick shout out to Sea of Fatherhood, for the very nice message that you sent us. And so we always appreciate any bits of acknowledgement or feedback. So if you're enjoying our show and you want to get in touch, please feel free to do so via our Instagram page, our email address, and I'll give you more details about how to do that a little bit later. But on with the show, and we're going to be talking about toddlers. And as I mentioned earlier, Magnus and I are fathers to our respective toddlers. John's been through this process, and when we started the podcast, we had no experience of this. Now we do. We're going to regale you with that experience. And so, rather than me just waffle on, Magnus, why don't you just give us your general thoughts briefly about how you found the adjustment from being a father to a baby to being the father to a toddler?
Man, shit's fucked.
You're always really upbeat, Magnus, and that's what I really love about you.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Your positive attitude is turning me on.
So the transition from baby to toddler is it's one that sneaks upon you. It's very much like when you are
walking on the street and and a car
walking
drives
in-
by and whacks you water on you. That's how it feels when you have a toddler.
Well, do you know what it
That
reminds me of?
transition.
Do you know what I think it could be? I'm the seagull and you're in your car.
Oh, wow. Please keep that in.
No. I tell a lie. Like, okay, right. It's now gotten a bit hairy, but the transition is really flipping fun and joyous, isn't it? It's crazy to see all of these changes, which you think can't happen quick enough, but they do. You know, your kid starts to emulate what you're saying. She starts to, or in my experience, you're starting to emulate the way you are. You're starting to see yourself in them a lot more. Their mannerisms, their facial expressions. You're starting to identify who you are in your child, which is, you know, I guess it's something that you kind of think about and expect before that kid pops out of the vagina. I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it once that happened. It was just survival for a while. I forgot about it, and then I started to enjoy my child. I started to really enjoy my child after 5 months, and it was like, this is a human who is pretty useless, but pretty fun and happy and joyous for sure, you know, but she's her own person. She's her own individual, and you could start to see that.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a year and you're like, yeah, she's starting to say shit. She's starting to actually want to walk and go places and not be picked up all the time. And then you get to close to 2 years and these mofos are so independent. They are so independent, but also so goddamn needy simultaneously. It's like a weird mixture. And is it fun? Yeah. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And she's been a beacon of light during all of this shit this year, with lockdown and the pandemic. But at the same time, it's been bloody hard. Like really, really hard. And it's been getting harder, purely because she doesn't quite understand, or she's getting the understanding of who she is, her place in the world, but at the same time, she has no understanding of boundaries. She doesn't know what it means. She doesn't understand why she can't do things. And her ability to communicate is, of course, not great right now. It's a lot better than it was, and she's saying a lot of things. She's doing a hell of a lot of parroting. If you give her a word, 3 syllables, maybe 4 syllables, she'll at least try. And that's great, but she can't exactly use it to make sense.
So shit.
So, yeah.
Is that what you say? So shit. That should be Magnus' tagline. So shit. It's just shit. Kids. Shit.
So that's my experience. It really is a roller coaster, man. Like, I can't.
Yeah, no, it is.
Maybe it's because I've got really low adjustment. I think that's what it is. I'm just a low adjustment person.
You know what it is? I mean, in general, it's hard for everybody, like that management. Do you know what I mean? It's not just you. It really isn't. It really isn't.
Well, thanks for validating.
Yeah, and I think one of the most challenging parts of having a toddler is that the toddler stage is where they go from babies to sort of being more like recognizably functional human beings, in that they can get around on their own and they can communicate, and they can perform basic tasks. But one thing they lack is ingrained knowledge of the world. They can't place themselves in the context of the world yet. They have no idea of anything, and that makes them dangerous. Because
I agree.
Because they still need to make all the mistakes that you need to make to be able to understand the world and your place in it. And so yeah, it's an interesting time as a parent, for sure. So what we're going to do now is just now we've sort of introduced the subject, is run through a list that I found online, 12 unmistakable signs your baby is now a toddler. We're going to run through them and talk about our experiences of them. And the first one on the list is having to negotiate nappy changes. And this is definitely a thing for me and Alex with Amelie. Is, you know, it's a real lottery as to whether or not Amelie's going to cooperate with either a nappy change or just getting changed at all. Sometimes she will be very compliant and she'll lie down on the changing mat and everything will be fine. Other times she is doing anything she can to avoid a change. And her latest thing is she wants me to race her up and down the hallway. So she'll grab my hand and go, "Daddy, go fast! Daddy, go fast!" And
She's not stupid, is she?
And we have to stand with our backs to the bedroom door and then run to my office door. Although she is a bit of a cheat, she does sometimes when I count to 3 before we start, she runs at 2. So 1, 2, then she's off and I'm 3, and then she beats me, which I'm not happy about.
Because you like to win, Matthew.
Of course, well, we all do. And then there are the times when you're trying to change her, and instead of actually it happening as you want to, you're just chasing her around trying to grab off items of clothes at opportune moments, and then and just hoping that she doesn't have a meltdown. Mag, does this ring any bells for you?
So, somewhat so. So she has a place where she goes for a shit. We've got a little kitchen in the front. I'm not joking. Yeah, no. She has a little wooden kitchen in the front room, and so she goes to the wooden kitchen. I don't know what she's cooking something.
She's learning to shit in the kitchen, basically.
Yeah, shit in the kitchen while staring out the window.
She's making a brownie,
and then she's making a brownie, and then you smell it enters your nostrils. It's a goddamn nasal attack, and you say to her, "Poo poo."
with that
done a
intense
poo-poo?
look.
Yeah, I'm because like you've done a real bad shit. Like surely that must be uncomfortable for you. And we'll say to her, have you done a poo poo? Daddy. No. and so as we approach her to pick her up or to lead her by the hand to go to the bedroom to clean, because she's not going to follow the order. She doesn't follow the order much. It's very rare she follows the order to go and clean herself. She can't clean herself. That would be crazy. We have to do it.
Shower.
We have to do it.
In a shower, has a bath, does everything herself.
Yeah, but when we approach her, she throws a tantrum sometimes. She lays prone, so you can't pick her up. She's figured it out. Yeah, she does that thing where she raises her hands so you can't.
Yeah, and
she'll slide
down,
out.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
How slimy
so funny.
are they when they do that?
They
it's
are.
Like, they turn into a slug as well. Annoying, man.
Isn't it? Yeah. No, it does ring true, Matt.
Okay, cool. The next one is that the language becomes more sophisticated, and I think that's an obvious one. Like, for example, Mama and Dada become Mummy and Daddy, or Mama and Daddy in our case. And I think we've talked about in Dad News about how our kids are starting to talk more. I mean, I remember I mentioned Silly Sausage Daddy the other day, and I know, Magnus, you brought out similar things before.
Oh man, can I tell you my experience on the old toddler thing and becoming more adept with speech and also them copying you is my little one, Liam. I kept, obviously I'm trying to not swear at home, so when something happens he's like, "Oh, bugger," and he picked that up really well. I could hear him in the room, and it's just like, "Oh, bugger," and I'm like, no, he didn't. And I had to tell him not to do it, and I can't do it anymore. But yeah, all of a sudden he's picking up these words and he knows where to put them. It's quite interesting.
Man.
It's good fun, though. It's good fun. The speech does improve at that point. At the toddler period is amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, the speech is the best bit. Yeah. The speech is the best bit. It's so cute. And it's also surprising how good they are as well.
Yeah, it does come along when it starts improving. It just starts going at, seems to go at a sort of an exponential pace in terms of the development.
Agreed.
It goes from just random syllables here or there to starting to construct short sentences, and it's just rewarding being able to communicate with them. And I mean, Emily now doesn't just parrot; she can put her own sentences together, knowing words that she knows. Like the other day. I think they were going downstairs. Emily and Alex were going downstairs to have food, and so Emily leant in to give me a kiss, and then Alex gave her a kiss, and Emily just said, "Everybody has kiss."
Oh,
that's really good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
And she already knows family cuddle, which is where I come and hold Alex, and who's holding Emily, and Emily just buries her head into us, and she quite often now says, "Family cuddle."
Oh, bless her.
Which is just the sweetest thing in the world.
Sweet.
And the thing is, like, you can have an entire day of her being a complete nightmare, and just that one moment, she gets away with it. Like that, it's sweet enough that it kind of wipes the slate clean.
On the note of toddlers talking, Quinn's got a really deep voice.
Ooh.
Like like it's been commented on. Yeah, so you're right, mate. What's going on?
Because you have a deep voice, mate. That's why.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. But also, Romana's she doesn't have like the smoothest of voices. It's a little bit harsh. And Romy's mum also has got a really hoarse voice. Hello, what are you doing?
Daddy, Dada,
And-
come here. Feed me.
Is it a Central European thing, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just purely genetic. And
As in like genetics from Central Europe.
no. Like I don't know any other.
Basically, what he's
Czech
saying is
people
that's
with
your
that kind of
baby
voice.
sound check. That's what he was trying to say.
Yeah, no, but her voice is deeper. Like when I listen to Amelie, Matt, her voice is like
I remember you
is
said,
yeah, it's a lot higher. Then you got Quinn, Dada, poo poo. No.
Jeez, man. I sound like a wimp compared, I imagine.
So
My kids.
the next point on the list is that they become more independent, and I think we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. They do start to want to do their own thing, and like Amelie's quite good at putting her things away. You can quite easily just say, "Oh, put that back where it belongs." She'll toddle off and do it, and so I hope that lasts a while. The next one is that they laugh at your jokes, and I don't think that Amelie can laugh at my jokes yet. But you know what is brilliant about toddlers is they don't have high standards when it comes to comedy. They'll laugh at any old shit.
Yeah, but she also knows
Yeah.
her dad's not funny. That's probably why she hasn't. Not laughing.
Have you done the fake laughter thing where you both laugh, and then the kid follows suit?
No, I've not done that.
Like contagious laughter, yeah, it works for Quinn. So we'll just turn and look at her, and then start bursting out laughing. And it's not immediately funny, but then she will start laughing back, and that's when it becomes really funny. So there's three of us laughing at nothing. It's brilliant.
Okay, and next on the list, we have the fact that toddlers cause chaos in the form of drawing on things. I've not had this happen to me yet, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before Amelie takes a crayon and applies it to the wall. Mag, has this entered your world yet?
I just turned around and looked on the wooden floor, and there's green fucking crayon.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, she doesn't go crazy with the drawing, but she has done it. And yeah, we've got the tools. We've got the isopropyl alcohol to try and get rid of the permy markers and all that kind of stuff. She's not made a massive mess because we're renting, but she has done it like a good 5, 6, 7 times, and I think it's going to get worse. She likes to draw.
No, I mean, we do have the general problem that any space that Amelie is in becomes chaotic very quickly. So books and toys get pulled out, and you're just concentrating really on making sure that they're okay and they're safe, and so you're not really so focused on how tidy the room is. And then say you put them to bed, you come downstairs, and you just realise that your place is a complete state. Our living room at the moment it looks like a toy bomb went off down there. It is awful.
Toy bomb. I like it.
Yeah.
Good phrase.
I have to be thankful that my wife's got a bit of an OCD thing, and she's kind of that gene has passed on to my oldest because he's really tidy. So if the other two are messy, he'll tidy up for his brother and sister, which has been brilliant. But it's just incredible because until he grew up to a point where we could ask him to do that, when we had all three of them little, they was just constantly tidying up, and it would just never end. It's just a never-ending cycle of tidying shit up because they leave shit everywhere. Yeah. And you find like clothes when they start, learning to get dressed and themselves. You start finding clothes everywhere. It's a nightmare, man. It's really annoying.
Yeah, on that theme, actually, we started to realise that we're going to have to really start to book our own ideas up with that sort of stuff, like making sure we do the washing up every night and not leave stuff out, because it's not going to be too long until we're going to be hypocrites. We can't go to Amelie and say, tidy your room, if we're leaving the space untidy when we go to bed. So that is going to be a pain in the bum.
So we should review a dishwasher, Mag. I think that'll be the first step for Matt.
Hey, great idea.
Never.
Yeah.
Just
Let's do that.
Men in Black that shit out your head. Like
the three of us, we can vote, and the vote goes that no, thank you, Magnus.
I can
hear about
resign.
dishwasher.
I can resign. I mean, there's always that.
I think I've got enough.
I love the man that
footage.
loves democracy. That taught me about democracy.
Yeah, I don't think you could resign, Matt. I have enough footage to pretend to be you for years.
You probably do, to be fair. So number 6 on the list is pull-ups. And by that we mean nappies and not pull-up bars at the gym. Pull-up nappies are a godsend.
All right. Explain this to me. So I hate them.
Well, just because often Amelie won't cooperate when it comes to nappy changes.
Yeah.
And if she's walking around and being evasive, you can take off and put on a pull-up pretty easily. It's
the
not
most
hard.
beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful thing.
Obviously, if there's a poo in there, your task is harder, especially if it...
Not really. If it's a liquid
how
one,
does
yes,
that
but
work?
otherwise, no, it's manageable.
Okay.
So
all right.
where's the
I'm a bit
confusion coming
lost.
in, Magnus? Because I thought this... I mean, you're an intelligent man, and this is a fairly straightforward subject.
Pulling shit up instead of, Mr. Engineer, what's the matter?
But like, yeah, if they've done a shit and it is not one which is conducive in form, as in a nice solid turd, then what do you do then? Like, how are you gonna do you pinch it in the nappy? Do you get your fingers and
you just grab it with the nappy and pull it down, mate. It's
Yeah.
But
really
they're
easy.
still dirty. How
yeah,
how
you
you
Because you
wipe
get the
them.
wipes and you wipe them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you do have to do that.
Well, yeah, you're not going to just leave them with a shitty ass, are you?
Well, I don't know. I thought that's what you guys were doing.
No.
There is something wrong with you, mate.
Shitty bum. No.
You
This is
pull
why I
it
didn't
down,
do
you
it.
wipe him, put the wipes inside the
But
old nappy, throw the old nappy away, and put the
that
new
doesn't
one
seem
on.
any better than just getting a normal nappy and chucking them
No,
onto.
because they're more collaborative. If they're just standing up and they don't have to be on their back, they're nicer to you. They're happier
Oh,
to do
okay,
it.
right. Yeah,
There's
it must be a
psychology to
different
it. You're the
circumstance.
smart one here, man. You do the science.
no,
bit and news.
hang
What's
on,
wrong
hang
with
on.
you, man?
So when I get Quinn, she can't run away from me, right? When I get her, I will pick her up and I'll throw her onto the table or wherever, and then
Boys.
I can just I literally could just hold her down. She's not going to move.
Are
Like,
you-
she will
you-
try and
what?
squirt.
But she'll moan the whole time. Mate.
No, she won't. She won't. Like she knows her place.
Have you just beaten her into submission?
Well, we've got okay, maybe a little bit. No, we can't joke about that. That's not even funny. That is
What's
not.
wrong
I do
with
not.
you, man?
We don't on Overly Honest Dads. We do not endorse beating children.
Apart
No,
from
I don't
changing
beat my
nappy.
kids.
No.
Just need to.
No, you better. Yeah, it's getting me worried over here. Body slamming like all I can think is Stone Cold Steve Austin, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Quinn gets clotheslined on a regular basis.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're at the halfway point of this list, so I think this is a natural point for us to take a brief break. So we're gonna take a moment to, collect ourselves and to reflect on the things we've just said and whether or not they're things that we want to be known for. And then, this
Father
is
Matt.
anyone can download this shit, guys. Anyone can listen. And we are going to join you again, dear listeners, in just a few moments. So sit tight. Don't worry. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to this 30th episode of Overly Honest Dads, and we're going to carry on talking about this list of 12 unmistakable signs your baby is becoming a toddler. We've done 1 through 6, now we're going to do 7 through 12. And the next one is that crying becomes no. So instead of a crying baby, you've now got a toddler who just says no all the time. Ring any bells to you guys?
Yeah, Matthew. You reminds me of you all fucking day, mate.
Oh, fuck you.
Sorry, I don't mean it. No, definitely. I remember this clearly. Actually, because I didn't know what to say about toddlers when we were preparing for the podcast. I had to sit down with my wife, and she said, "Don't you remember?" No. And I was like, "Oh yeah." All 3 of them were a pain in the ass with the no. It's the first thing they go to, man. Just like the first word that they turn to.
Yeah.
And they say it more often than mummy and daddy. It's crazy.
Yeah, once they learn what no means and how powerful it can be, they fucking take the piss out of it, don't they?
Mm-hmm. The other day, I was looking after Emily in the morning. Alex was having a lie-in, and we'd had breakfast already, but Emily was hungry, so I took her into the kitchen, and there's a sort of a couple of big shelves in the kitchen where we got a lot of the sort of dry food, and that's where a lot of her snacks are. And we went through about 10 different options. Nope. No. Jesus.
No.
Yeah, it's very annoying. What's happened with her recently as well, which is, it's sort of related, is that now she's got the concept of ownership, and so now things are hers. So mine, that's Amelie's.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's annoying.
Quinn is still giving us everything.
No, she says.
I
"No,
remember
mine."
that hitting home when I was watching Finding Nemo with the kids. with the seagulls at the end, like mine, and I was just like, that's exactly what they sound like, the little annoying shits.
Yeah.
Because toddlers are little cunts, really. I mean, that's,
Yeah, and there are nice things to it. So sometimes, like, I'll be carrying Emily, because when we come back from nursery, we don't really use the pushchair anymore. This is one of the points going to come on to in a moment. And and I'll be carrying her, and she'll go, "Daddy, my daddy." And that melts my heart.
So sweet.
Yeah,
That's so sweet.
This is the duality of toddlers. They're both infuriating and really wholesome and sweet and nice. And they switch between the two things rapidly.
As John said, they're cunts.
Yeah.
is that the general consensus?
Yeah.
Unmistakable signs that your toddler is a cunt.
I love my child.
I love my
so
child
do I.
too.
No, it's an interesting period. Put it that way. It's an interesting period.
God damn it is.
Okay.
God damn it is.
The next thing on the list doesn't make sense. I'm going to skip over it. It literally doesn't make sense. I'm not even going to mention it.
Oh, we could have dished it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but we've all been going a while already, so let's bang on. So the next one is they're more interested in pushing the pushchair than riding in it.
Yes. I remember that shit. That's very true.
Yeah. So Magnus, does Quinn still use the pushchair, or does she reject the pushchair?
It has its place. She still uses it, but it's rare. Like for example, if we want to go for a night walk, which is really rare, and we want to go through the park with the torch or something, then she'll sit there so she can see things. She can look at the foxes. She can look at the stars and the different environments.
Magnus, you know what's killing me about what you're saying is I keep like in my head now. Quinn's got a deep voice, so everything's like, "No pushchair, daddy." Like that's all I'm hearing in my head now. You've completely ruined the picture of that girl, mate.
No pushchair, daddy.
No, daddy, change my nappy.
I've done a poo.
That's all I hear in my head when you're telling the story now. It's ruined.
No, it's funny, but fuck you guys. Poor kid.
Now, the next on the list is that dirty nappies are seriously dirty. Now, this doesn't ring true with me. I think that there's not been any massive change in the consistency of pooey nappies. You guys?
You'll see it develop soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, Emily's two, and I mean, we haven't had any horrendous nappies in quite a while that I can think of.
Wait for it.
Yeah, like, ours are okay. Like, she's had big ones.
Yeah.
No leaks or anything, but like nearly breaking the barrier just about.
I think it's breaking the barrier, the nappy in quantity is what I remember. Of it overlapping because it was so much more than, because, they're meant to be getting out of.
They definitely stink. Like if she does a shit in the front room and you're down the road speaking at number 32, there's a good chance you'll be able to smell it.
Oh, man.
Oh. Okay, and the next one is that they can run away from you, and that is a definite problem, both in terms of trying to get stuff done around the house, but also when you're out in public.
Yeah, they're very quick. Like, I can see how they can run out into the road piss easily.
Yeah.
They're so quick.
They're off the mark without looking straight away, because, it's mental.
Mm-hmm.
Use of their legs.
They just don't fucking care where they go. They just shoot out somewhere, anywhere, just to be away and explore. It doesn't matter if there's a curb.
It's learning. It's learning.
It is learning. It is learning. Learning for plonkers.
You didn't use the C word. Yay.
And the last on the list is that they have more opinions, which I think is very true. Although I think young toddlers, so between 1 and 2, probably hasn't developed enough communication skills to have that many opinions yet. Like, the concept of something being Emily's favourite is a fairly new thing. That's, having value judgments about things is a fairly new thing for her. That's not really developed yet.
Does Emily have an attachment to a toy or, a toy or cuddly toy?
Not one in particular. She has, it more rotates than anything else. So sometimes she'll have a particular attachment to something, but it doesn't last long.
Our NCT classes were held in a cafe which was dedicated to parents. Very weird Wimbledon-esque kind of thing. And they were selling, I forget the brand, but they were selling cuddly toys. And there was a bear that they had there. Only one. And this was a massive mistake. You should have bought 2. It was like a proper teddy bear. And she had it since birth. And dude, she is so attached
Yeah.
to that thing. She's always asking for bear or meja, which is the Czech for bear, running up to it,
Sounds so much
cuddling it.
better.
Meja, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
just
a nice name. Like you want to go towards the animal, not run away.
Meja, yeah. It is really nice. It is really nice, and she's so attached to it. So attached, always asking for it. She goes to sleep with it. Sometimes she'll take it to the babysitters, and we've been trying to find a replacement, and they stopped making it 2 years ago.
Matt, do you
So
remember
we're-
having your earliest toy, like Magnus? Matt, do you ever
No.
I remember one that I was very close to actually, and it was a teddy bear. It just came back to mind now.
No, it wasn't a toy. It was a tag on a piece of clothing or a towel. It was like literally the tag that was on it, and it had nice friction when you ran that between your fingers, and that was my thing. It was like a tactile thing more than anything else, which probably shows that I am very much on the spectrum.
That's how you became a pervert.
Yeah, but that brings us to the end of this list. This is list 12 unmistakable signs your baby is now a toddler. I got this list from a website called pickany2.net. The tagline is because moms can do anything, but not everything, which is, I think, aiming low. I think, you should be able to do everything. I mean, aim high in life. What's the point otherwise? Now, I should say, I've not read anything else on this site, so please don't, if you go there, don't hold me accountable for anything you find. I literally just found this list, it looked reasonable, and I went with it. I do not vouch for the website other than that. And so to round off this toddler section, I'm going to throw out a question to Magnus and John, and I'm interested to get their response. The question is, what is harder? Getting your newborn baby home for the first time and dealing with that, or dealing with a toddler?
Toddlers too. You can't compare it, man. Toddlers is a
Try.
long period of time. It's a long period of time. I mean, if
One cannot compare the two.
no, you can't. You can't.
No. Do you know what? I think you can. No, you can compare the two in terms of scale of
Yeah,
the
of
amount
impact.
of.
Yeah.
Bringing a kid home is easy.
Dreamy.
The first few, it is fucking easy. They do nothing.
Yeah.
They just sit there and sleep. Like there's no crying.
Oh yeah, but you're monitoring them constantly, and
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
they haven't farted in 5 hours. What's going on?
Is the correct English word incomparable? I think it's incomparable. Yeah, and compared to now, like the stress. Oh my god, trying to get shit done. Maybe it's because we're in lockdown. It's special circumstances.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
maybe
hard anyway.
that's
It's
why.
hard. It was hard anyway,
it
mate.
is
Well,
hard.
I think you're also forgetting though that with toddlers you get so much more upside. With a baby,
Yeah, that's true.
you don't get really that much upside because they do for the same reason that you say it's easy. It's also the same reason that it can be a bit shit because you get no feedback. There's nothing for you to bounce off.
I
There's
agree.
no personality. And
There's no
they
banter.
and they look like fucking shriveled raisins.
Yeah, they do.
They
They are seriously ugly creatures, aren't they?
Well,
Hey,
obviously, my daughter was beautiful, but when she was a baby. But speak for yourself. I don't know. I think it's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other situation, as you can probably tell by the way I approach it. Like toddlers can wind you the fuck up. It can be really hard work, but then in a split second they can do or say something that melts you entirely and makes everything
Absolutely.
worth it. And I always return.
Well, it's a lot better now than it was then,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, if you were to say that, completely agree.
Yeah. And one thing I always return to is the fact that you can have often we have really stressful bedtime routines because Emily rarely wants to go to bed. She's like me in that she wants to be awake and wants to be part of things rather than just just in bed. And so bedtime routines can be stressful. But then when me and Alex, my wife, check on Emily when we go to bed, we just look at her sleeping and just think she's the sweetest thing in the world. And it makes it all okay.
Yeah,
again.
we do that as well.
Makes
Who
it all
doesn't?
okay
Who
again.
doesn't?
Yeah.
Still do it now.
So sweet.
Yep. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this little toddler section of our podcast. We're going to return to various toddler subjects in the future because there are going to be various milestones that we're going to get deal with. Things like, as I mentioned earlier, potty training will be one, and I'm sure there'll be other subjects that Magnus and I will want to talk about. And we need to, at some point, spend more time on John's experience of raising toddlers because he's done it thrice. So lots of experience there. So this is one that we'll return to. If any listeners out there have topics that you want us to hit upon relating to your lives as parents, if you've got toddlers, you're experiencing any situations that you'd like to hear our thoughts on, then just let us know, and I'll tell you at the end of the show how you can get in touch with us. But for now, it's time for a brief break, and we're going to come back in a moment with Am I Being Unreasonable? Welcome back to Open Honest Dads, and now we're in the final straight. It's time for Am I Being Unreasonable? If this is your first time listening to us, Am I Being Unreasonable is a board on Mumsnet. Am I Being Unreasonable is a board where people post up their problems and they look for the denizens of Mumsnet to weigh in. We're not on Mumsnet, but we weigh in anyway. And we're going to read out some of these posts and tell you, our lovely listeners, whether we think they're being reasonable or not. So we're starting to get some Christmas themed ones in here, and the first one is: am I being unreasonable to expect quality street tunes to have roughly equal amounts of each sweet?
Quality Street is horrible, man.
And the poster is called All the Quality Street. The post reads as follows: I have just opened a 2-kilogram tin and found it had 46 coconut, 25 fudge, 25 toffee penny, 8 green triangle, 8 purple ones, and 9 orange crunch. To me, that's not an acceptable mix in a tin marketed as an assortment, with each sweet shown with equal weighting on the side of the tin. Am I being unreasonable? In addition, if you have a new tin yourselves and are willing to count, please post what proportions you've got. I'm sure loads of you will be tempted to post that I am being unreasonable for liking Quality Street at all, but A, it's that smell of Christmas when you open the tin, and B, not the point of the thread.
Well, I must admit, I'm quite pleased that she's bringing it. It's a woman, yes?
Well, I mean, I worked the assumption that posters on Mumsnet are women.
Yeah, okay. I'm pleased that she's brought this up because it is a serious concern for people like me who have a major sweet tooth, in that we expect a certain amount of orange and strawberry fondant and we don't receive it, and we feel like we have been undersold, and that's not right. And these big flipping conglomerate corporations don't listen to us when we complain. They just laugh because they've already got our money, and then we just still have to eat it because they know we will. It's not fair.
Yeah, there's not enough Maltesers in the celebrations. That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, I think she is being unreasonable, or she just has too much time on their hands. I can't think of a single time in my life where I've had enough time to tot up the amount of different assortments of sweets in a box.
After cooking for a whole day, sitting there just counting sweets instead of listening to your kids. I don't know, Matt. Might be an option, but you know.
I don't know. I do all the cooking at home, and I've still never been tempted. So on to another post. This is from someone called Too Much Too Young 01. That rings a bell. I think we might have heard from them before. And the post title is: Am I being unreasonable to take my dear daughter home from playground because she wouldn't do her coat up? The post reads: Dear daughter, 3.5 years old, refusing to let me do her coat up as she wanted to show everyone in the playground her new dress. Several people had commented on it on our way to the park. After several times telling her that I needed to do a coat up and explaining why, because it's cold, and her refusing, I said we are going home. Again, explained lots of times that we would go home if she wouldn't do her coat up. Dear daughter, hysterically crying all the way back to the car and back home. Am I out of order for taking her home? And I chose this because we were talking about toddlers, and toddler tantrums are a thing, and seems to tie in nicely. So what do you guys think?
I think she's setting a boundary and following through. I think that's fair. Yeah, the outcome's not nice, but I don't see anything wrong with that. She warned the kids. She set the boundary that shouldn't be broken, and then she followed through. That sounds like proper parenting right there. No?
Yeah, it does, because it's discipline without it being sort of, violent discipline. It's like consistency. And the more that you let them push at you, the more room that they know they have to push you. So I think that is kind of reasonable in a way. Yeah. Although I can see... Oh, sorry, John, you go.
No, I was just going to say, I think From the way it was titled, it seemed like she was being more unreasonable than it really was. Because in the end, she did have a point. I think she does. She does have a point. I mean,
John, you can't fucking put in the chat body slam.
Don't mention it. We're recording. It was like to be. If the kid doesn't behave, Magnus says body slam.
No. We are not setting that precedent from here on. I don't body slam
body
my
slam,
kid.
Mag.
She's not being unreasonable.
BSM.
We're moving on swiftly.
Sorry, Matthew.
Okay. You put it in that chat. I was looking at our WhatsApp chat. So yeah, I was confused there. So the next one is on a slightly different subject. The poster is called Foodster, and the subject line is: Am I being unreasonable to think that watching violent films with a baby is wrong? So the post reads, I am on maternity leave at the moment. Our baby is 4 months old. I take care of the baby during the day and my partner takes care of him when he comes home from work. I take the evening hours to relax, like taking a bath, etc., as I still have lots of postnatal issues after the birth. My partner is a very good dad, but he likes to sit on the floor, put the baby on his legs in his snuggle me cushion, gently swaying him while he watches samurai or zombie films on Netflix. These films are all age 18 and I don't like them. He insists that he likes them and needs the films to wind down after a long day at work. He says baby doesn't understand what's happening in the films. I know our baby doesn't consciously understand what's happening in the films. Our son is quite fascinated by the lights on the screen, and I worry that the grim content might influence him on a subconscious level. Am I being unreasonable to think it's inappropriate to watch these things whilst taking care of the baby?
It's a bit weird.
Do you think?
But she.
Look, there's a reason I picked this. Is John used to play lots of violent video games whilst holding his children in his arms, and I figured he might have an opinion on this.
So this is the thing. Actually, that's a very interesting point, Matt, because I never thought of that. I've never thought of that. Mind you, it was when I was feeding them. When he was a baby. When they grew up, they never got to watch.
Well, this baby's 4 months old.
So... It's interesting.
Then kids not going to flip in. No,
but the kids absorb a lot at that age. That's the thing that I'm thinking of. I mean, there's a lot of absorption. You're saying they're running around wanting to learn things.
Yeah.
I mean, how much did they absorb of violent things?
We actually didn't. We didn't. Like, we don't have a TV. We didn't want our kids to see any screens for a while. So I wouldn't have done that anyways. I don't think. I don't know. Like, the kid's not going to know. But at the same time, that's weird. The content, like the killing and shit in front of a baby.
Yeah, it is a bit. There is an element of just being slightly deranged doing that. But surely there's lots of things you could watch that don't involve death.
Very true.
Like,
maybe it's
there's the range of content out there in the world, especially in this year 2020, the range of content available to us, through various mediums, is substantial, and you don't have to choose death-related programs.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched all Disney stuff with them, to be honest. Sitting there watching.
I like it. I love like watching. I love. Yeah, I like watching her cartoons and stuff. I've really gotten into Peppa Pig.
I really
like. Oh, it's awesome.
Oh, Matt,
it is awesome.
Before I forget, I've gone vegan again, mate. Sorry.
Fuck off.
Sorry. Poor Peppa, Matt. Poor Peppa.
When every time you bite into a vegetable, do you not just think, bacon is better? Because it is.
I'm not a big fan of bacon, though. If I have to think of anything, it's the junk food I mentally go to. But it's actually not that difficult to put away. The difficult thing is cheese, but I found a very good supplemental cheese stuff. But it's manageable.
I just don't think there's any need, really. I think that it's all wrong. It's all what's wrong with society.
We should do a section of the podcast where we try and educate Matt, so I can get you to watch a documentary and then see how you want to rip that documentary apart, which is very scientific.
Okay, we'll see. So I've got two more to do, and they're both Christmas related. So the next one is from a poster called Daisies in the Meadow, and the subject line is, Am I being unreasonable to just do a chicken for Christmas? It reads as follows: Honest to God, I'm dreading Christmas shopping, sad face. It's a small family for mine, just me, my husband, my mother, and we're going round to his mum's for Christmas dinner the day after anyways. Would it be unreasonable to just use a large chicken? I can't be arsed with a turkey, to be honest. Too long to cook and just a hassle.
Just get a small turkey crown or something.
That's what I was thinking. Turkey crown, dead easy. And then you tick in the box. It's not much work, and you get a shitload of meat.
Yeah.
Well, what's this? This is it. Yeah,
To be fair,
I mean,
sort your life out, love.
See,
get yourself crowned.
Even though I know, as a sane human being, that there is nothing wrong at all with cooking a chicken for Christmas dinner. There is genuinely nothing wrong with it. I know there's nothing wrong with it, but there really is at the same time something wrong with it.
I don't know. To be honest, I'm the one that cooks every year, right? I'm the cook. Like the family comes over. And,
your poor
and
family.
Yeah, I'm decent, Matt. Calm down. I'm Italian. Don't forget. But even like you plan for it. I get excited by it and all the rest of it. But I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't understand the moan here. I mean, if you did, I don't understand the moan. A large chicken is absolutely fine, and I think I don't agree with. It's fine.
A chicken is something like. So, for example, I'm doing chicken on Sunday. We got our Austrian friends that we're in a childcare bubble with some Austrians that live behind us, and they're coming round on Sunday, and I'm doing chicken. But Christmas is supposed to be special, isn't it? Like chicken is like every day. Like if you're going to do a roast on a Sunday, you're probably doing chicken, you're probably doing top side of beef, leg of lamb or shoulder of lamb or pork, right?
Who does that in 2020? Who has the time on a Sunday to do all of that, man?
Me.
That's a lot. You do all those meats on a Sunday?
No, just do one of them.
Oh, you just do one of them? Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
just do one of them. But like Christmas is supposed to be special, isn't it? It's supposed to be a day that you take where you do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And I do kind of think that I know I'm being snobby and I know I'm being a dick and I know that it's unreasonable, but I do think that just doing a chicken on Christmas is a bit of a cop-out.
I do the money
decidedly mediocre. It really is.
That's just me. Anyway, so we've got a last one. This is a bit of a longer one, but it's Christmas related, and I mean, I've not read it all the way through.
It's about coffee recipes.
No, it's not. It's not. So the poster is called "My Neighbours Are Bellends," and the subject line is "Neighbour told my son that Father Christmas isn't real."
Love him already.
So. My son, who's 9 years old, is in the same class as the child next door, so me and the neighbour take turns to do the school run in the mornings. We have only lived next door to each other for just over a year, and they have been okay, aside from a run-in over the fence, a tree, and their children having a stint of being mean to mine in school. I have been so non-confrontational with all of this stuff because I have to live next door to them and don't want hostile relations with neighbours. However, today's episode has really crossed a line for me, and I need your help to understand if it is reasonable for me to be so fucked off. My son has just said to me that on his way to school this morning, the dad neighbour told him that Father Christmas isn't real. This is how he says the conversation went. My son said, "Will you have Elf on the Shelf in your house?" The neighbour said, "No, because Elf on the Shelf is fake, just like Father Christmas. He doesn't exist." Son, "Yes, he does." Neighbour, "No, he doesn't. Christmas is about celebrating Jesus' birth, and Father Christmas is just made up."
Oh,
my son, "Well, I don't believe in Jesus, so I think he is made up." Neighbour, "What do you mean? Jesus created the earth and all of us." Son, "Well, I thought God was supposed to have created the earth." Okay.
I love this kid. The argument. The kid's smart, man.
Yeah, the kid is solid.
So the post goes on. Okay, the whole God and Jesus part isn't so relevant. Just saying what dear son said. But aside, she was humble bragging by putting that in there, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
But aside from telling him Father Christmas isn't real, Elf on the Shelf isn't real, and telling him he has to believe in Jesus, the man isn't even Christian/Catholic anyway. His wife is, though, and their family celebrate Christmas with presents and a tree and a big fucking flashing Christmas lights outside their house. How dare he tell someone else's child that Father Christmas doesn't exist? Who does that? I don't feel like I can let this go without saying something, but I feel as if I need to balance my response, being mindful that I have to continue to live next door to them. I don't really want to continue with the lift sharing, but I'm imagining the awkwardness of us bundling the children into our own cars every morning whilst avoiding eye contact and then again at the other end.
I just leave it, man. Bloody hell, leave it.
Yeah, I would just leave it. Dude is a major cunt. I don't know, just let his ties down.
I agree with that. I mean, you might as well. I find it funny though. I mean, who takes the patience to try and have an argument with a child?
What?
I mean, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I reckon this is the grumpy old man. That's what it sounds like. A very grumpy old man, like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino kind of thing. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, amazing. That's literally such a grumpy fucker that does that.
He's going out of his way to destroy a kid's dreams, which they don't have for very long. Like, they figure it out. But he's going out of his way to make a kid feel bad.
But then the kid is 9. How's he got to 9 years old still thinking that Father Christmas is
he's
real?
9. Oh, I missed that. Oh, yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, he's still 9 years old. No, you should know by then, mate. Come on.
Yeah, he's
9.
That in at the start, and
I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. Kids
well, we don't listen to you, Karen.
And I do wonder about the whole fact that the kid is capable of distinguishing between Jesus creating the earth and God creating the earth, and can point it out in a debate with an adult, but also thinks that Santa's real. Those two things don't really align for me.
Yeah, it's somewhat incongruous.
It's inconsistent, and it makes me think that we have an unreliable narrator here.
Make a good point.
Yeah. I see. You get to read these things before. You're right.
I hadn't read it all the way through because I chose these ones whilst we were recording.
Nice.
But
that's why you never listen to us. Great.
Yep, and there's 391 replies to this, so I imagine there's quite a lot of quite interesting.
Oh, Jesus Lord!
Yeah, but we're not going to read them because we've been going. This is the longest episode we've had in a while, and that brings us to the end of this episode of Overly Honest Dads. If you'd like to get in touch, you can do so in a multitude of ways. You can get in touch with us via email. The email address is overlyhonestdads@gmail.com. That's overlyhonestdads@gmail.com. John, he runs our Instagram, which just to say, it is getting a bit better. The memes are, I'd say, about 5% less shit than they were before. So worth checking out. That's at Overly Honest Dads on Instagram. And you can also find us on YouTube. We have a Twitter account which is entirely dormant. And please do rate our podcast and subscribe to it. And if you have any friends of yours who are parents to be, feel free to recommend our show. Although we generally do talk a bit of shit, we also occasionally hit on some helpful subjects, and at the core of it, what we do here is tell it like it is. It's completely unvarnished. That's one thing I can say that's very true about our show. We don't give you airbrushed experiences of our lives as parents. We tell you exactly what it's like, and I guarantee you, your friends who tell you about what their lives as parents are, they will polish that turd up before they tell you about it. They really will. And for whatever reason, we've decided to just lay it all out. And so, take advantage of our sacrifice and do pass on this podcast to other people. So all that remains is for me to thank, if that's the word, Magnus and John. Thank you, guys.
My
pleasure. Thank you, Matthew.
And to thank you, the listeners. We wouldn't have a show without you guys, so we value each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.